singer, performer, and bandleader, Kitty Baudoin, also known as Miss Kitty, has been performing in New Orleans for decades. She took her talent to San Francisco and Hawaii in the 1980s and made a name for herself in the performance spaces of the time. Now back in her home, she performs with her band Sleazeball Orchestra at the world-famous Marigny Brasserie each Sunday. To keep her creative work afloat, she started her own business at 59 in the vitamin supplement industry. It gives her the flexibility to make a living at her own pace so she can focus on the music. Following are selections from our recent interview with Kitty. You can find out more about Kitty and her band at sleazeballorchestra.com.
I gotta clean these scars and mop these up and get them out of my yard. A voice from the other side, come tell the future is wrong. You make my deadbeat heart beat strong.
Hi, Kitty. Welcome to Next for Me, and we're glad to have you today.
I'm really happy to be with you today, actually.
Nice. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you've been, who you are, and what it is you do?
Okay, where I've been.
Mm-hmm.
All right, as in geographically.
Yeah, and in your professional life.
Sure, I'm a Louisiana-born native.
Uh-huh.
And I have traveled around, I'd like to say the world, but unfortunately I'm not done yet, so I want to leave some places for me to go. So I lived in California for quite a few years, 20 plus years, and then Hawaii for, about a 6-year chunk. And then I moved back to New Orleans about 10 years ago. Actually, April Fool's made 10 years. I can't believe it.
Wow.
And what I've consistently done is create my own reality and my own road to travel. But what I've done, and which I will always do consistently, no matter what else I do with it, is that I'm a singer. That's my God-given gift. The universe gave me this awesome voice and this performance presence, and I've consistently, since being as a little baby, stood up and opened my mouth and danced around the room, and they've never been able to stop me yet. So I've traveled around singing, performing, leading bands, causing riots and movements. In every place that I've been, San Francisco, San Diego, Hawaii, New Orleans, and I still do that. I currently do it, and as I age, I don't see it stopping. It's like that's why one reason why I moved back to New Orleans is because I'm in a place where music, as you continue to grow in your knowledge and wisdom, allows you the freedom to continue that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then of course there are other things that I do because as much as I would love to be able to make enough money playing music, you really have to. I mean, I work 24/7 basically now. Anyway, 6 hours of sleep is a good night for me. But I also create my own realities in my alternate money-making wisdom, too. That they're all legal so far. So far, all legal. I've also enjoyed a life of... I've been really lucky to encounter some awesome opportunities, which I've taken advantage of, that have helped me along the way too in the health food industry. I learned a lot, and I listen, and so I've also created my own little side business. I'm a traveling educator and mini supplements department, and I go around to all your vitamin and supplement stores and the big box and the little box, and I work with companies and I educate, and I sell their product.
Right. So that's a business that you started
Yes.
a few years ago, right?
That's a business that I started a few years ago. Yeah. Actually, I've been doing my own business now almost 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I've always been really creative as far as, I don't like working for, I like working with people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so crazy about working for the corporate giant, which we all basically do in one level or another, whether we know it or not.
Yeah. So was there something, maybe you can tell us how old you are, if you don't mind.
I'm a Southern woman, Jeff. You know we don't do that, but
okay,
for you,
that's
I'll
fine.
do it. No, for you and because it's look, there's number one, aging is an awesome thing. Don't let anybody ever tell you that it's not. I'm 63 years old, and I am learning to buck the system and love the fact that I'm 63 and I'm kicking some major ass still, and will continue to. You know, I'm in good, and I look great. I sound great. I mean, I don't mean that in an egotistical way. This is just the freaking truth.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
It's the truth. You know, and I know more than I ever have.
Yeah. So when you started your business, you came to some realization that was a good path for you to go down.
It was a natural. Yes. What was different is that I didn't have to listen to somebody coming down on my head because I'm an individual, or because I'm a woman who is older, and I have been in the business for a long time, and I need to get paid a certain amount of money. You know, the minute you have wisdom and so I decided that I don't want to work. I don't want to be battered anymore because I know my stuff. So it was a natural progression. I tell you, it was actually seamless when the decision came that I needed to change from working for a corporate to working for myself. It was very organic, the change. So what changed was, as my own boss, and I have my own freedom to gain the respect and the business. And I'm very busy, and I work all the time. So you know, what changed was a change in me. The change in me was, I'm not, you know, like the old, I'm sick and tired and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm tired of people telling me that I'm overqualified, which is another form of ageism and sexism, because I'm a woman that's over the age of 40.
Yeah.
And I demand respect and a proper pay for works given.
Great.
Work provided.
So since you've started your business, how do you find the amount of energy you put into that compared to when you were working for a large corporation?
I always give 100% no matter whom I work for.
Yeah.
Or who I work with. But that being said, when you have your own business, even if it's a business of one or two people, you always are working.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so the energy that I put into this I put a ton. I'm in the morning. I mean, it's all day. It's every day. But I have two businesses. I have my music business, and I have my product specialist business.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd actually like to back off a little of the product specialist business and give more energy to the music business. And so it's a delicate balancing act. But you know, I'm in control of that balancing act.
Right.
So I'm the one who can make those decisions, and I'm the one that can make it work. And I am in charge of my positive attitude towards those businesses. Nobody can bring me down except myself. That is a good freedom.
Yeah, very nice. If people would want to get in contact with you about this supplement business, how would they go about doing that?
They could email me or give me a call. You know, I don't necessarily. I'm so busy that I don't necessarily. I don't put a website up because I don't need it. You know, the best advertisement for me right now is word of mouth, because I always need work. Yeah, it's always changing, but I always have it. And I don't want to grow it much bigger than it is, because I want to grow the music business bigger than it is. But if anybody would like to get in touch with me about the music business, I do have a website.
Oh, great. Well, let's talk about what you're doing musically now. We understand that you've got this business going that supports you and supports your efforts in the music business. Exactly.
That's another reason why I have the other business. It's mainly to support the music business, too.
Yeah. So let me think here. I think it's interesting to know where you came from as a visual artist too. When I met you, I found out that not only did you have this great singing voice and a certain style, certainly derived from the New Orleans side of things, but you're also extremely visual, and and that caught my attention. And this is in the mid '80s. And what let's talk about a little bit about the photography side of things and the New Orleans World Fair and how you honed your visual style, and then we can talk about the music a little bit.
Sure. Well, I was a younger woman back living home in New Orleans, and I too wanted to. Back then, I also wanted to work for myself. So I got hooked up into the art scene down here in New Orleans and started modeling with artists. And being an exuberant entertainer, I started doing some pretty innovative modeling and got to be very famous down here in New Orleans, who in the 80s had a really large and fertile artistic visual artist community, working with all mediums, film, sculpture, painting, assemblage, anything you could think of. And so I worked with just about everybody who was famous down here, and I also created with Renee Harrow and David Sawyer, who are my co-curators. We produced a large show that took me about 4 years to put together, called Images of Kathy B., which is what everybody knew me as down here in New Orleans in the 80s, and worked with the likes of George Deroux, was one of my dear friends that I did a lot of photography work with, and we juried 50 Louisiana artists to participate in the show of all mixed medium, and it was pretty awesome. And then I did a lot, which led me to doing some performance work, Mario Villa Gallery, and which led me into also being asked to be the model for the Mermaid on the gates of the 1984 World's Fair, which was quite an honor, because nobody else can say that.
That's true.
I am the only one. It is I.
Yeah, I hope we can find a photograph of that. That would be great to show when we publish this.
Definitely. I also have, we had Hurricane Katrina that rolled through Louisiana before I came back home, but it destroyed a lot of stuff. And I just recently, through a friend of mine, found pieces of the Mermaid, and I do have some photographs of those too.
Great. Then you came to California and you were performing here and with different musical configurations. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh, yeah. Sure, definitely. Nothing can happen without, in my life, San Francisco was another pivotal satellite in my artistic mind. It was kind of like a seed that was planted in and then burst forth in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Club 9 and you, of course, our meeting and our relationship has continued to be really fun, and Club 9 offered a really fertile place for me to land. You know, I moved into San Francisco at about 1985, 84, 85, and started working up there and for Give Me Shoes, and then rolled into Club 9 and spoke to you and showed you guys what I had done in New Orleans, and was accepted into the Club 9 family, where I did numerous performances at the Art Hotel and downstairs. I think I married everybody I was the naked bride. I have pictures of that, by the way. Do you?
Okay.
When I was the topless bride, and we had the chapel downstairs. It was pretty awesome. So I started playing music there. I met some really great musicians, Craig Shapiro and Paul Robinson, and we started a band with your help called it was actually started as the Psycho Soul Blues, which morphed into the Psycho Souls, which was an original band playing Craig Shapiro and Paul Robinson's and our collaborations. We also had a great improvisational band called the Divamatics. You remember the Divamatics, don't you?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Boris Goldman, who's currently playing his classical harp in Berlin and / San Francisco. He's
great.
Half the time, he's Charles Moselle, still up in Mill Valley.
Uh-huh.
But we did some great, interesting, phenomenal, earth-shaking performances at Club 9. And then San Francisco in the 80s was just nothing but fantastic for a visual artist.
Right.
And a musician. You know, any of us that got to experience that in the 80s are lucky. Because it's gone now.
Well, yeah, things change. Right.
But we bring what we did then forward into the now.
Yeah. So let's talk about the music that you're doing in New Orleans now, and that's how I got back in touch with you again. And you know, I think it's as fun as it ever was, and it brings the richness that age brings into it in a new kind of music. So tell us about that.
Well, it does. You know, you just said it correctly. You know, New Orleans is steeped in culture and you know, Storyville, and it's passion and grunge and dirt and life and ancient crumbling structure. and that's where it finds its strength, in that ancient crumbling structure, not unlike the music, which is very rich and it's very tasteful in its crumbling weirdness, you know. So I have a band now called the Sleazeball Orchestra, which it's a 5-piece. We have you know, the lineup: upright bass, drums, myself, sax player, and guitar. We're not a completely original band, but we are original in our approach to what we do. We do have a lot of originals. We have put out a new CD called I Ain't in Love No More. It's available on sleazeballorchestra.com. You can always get in touch with me that way. But the music is a lot of jazz. It's a lot of cabaret. It's a lot of it's kind of like weird, twisted stripper music, German cabaret, New Orleans jazz meets a rocket ship. I'm probably happier, I'm happier now than I have ever been. What's next for me is music. Concentration on music. Concentration on simplicity and completion. And thanks, Jeff, for doing what you do, because this is a joint project. This life that we lead. Cool. We gotta hang on to each other.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love you.
Love you too.
I just woke up, everything's brighter. I just saw the sun on my pile of debris. I just felt my load get 100 pounds lighter. I just realized what a deep breath can be. You make my deadbeat heart beat hard. I gotta clean these scars and mop these up and get them out of my yard. A voice from the other side, come tell the future is wrong. You make my deadbeat heart beat strong. I gotta brush these leaves aside and drink the cold, fresh air. I gotta clean these valves and hoses before I can touch your hair. Tiny explosions and tiny rooms all get together and they sound like the sea. Now the smoke's clearing from all our wombs, and I can hear you and you can hear me. You make my deadbeat heart beat hard. I gotta clean these scars and mop these off and get them out of my yard. Tiny explosions and tiny rooms all get together and they sound like the sea. Now I'm feeling my deadbeat heart beating me. Cleaning up, I hope you come see me soon. I'm on Deadbeat Alley by the shed where they're keeping the moon. By the shed where they're tying up and beating the moon. By the shed where they're tying up and beating the moon. Let's you and me set free the moon. Let's you moon.